Hello there, guys. At the risk of sounding like every other YouTuber out there, I'd really appreciate it if you'd click the subscribe button. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and it allows my channel to grow, which means guests like the one you're about to watch, as well as more, would be willing to come on. Just give it a like, give it a subscribe, and we'll go from there. All right, thank you, and enjoy this episode. Hello there, guys. At the risk of sounding like every other YouTuber out there, I'd really appreciate it if you'd click the subscribe button. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and it allows my channel to grow, which means guests like the one you're about to watch, as well as more, would be willing to come on. Just give it a like, give it a subscribe, and we'll go from there. All right, thank you, and enjoy this episode. And today on Laments, we've got Shoaib. How are we doing?
Hey man, hi Dean. Thank you very much for having me. Yes, I'm doing very good, very well indeed. How are things with you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good, mate. Thank you again for coming on. I know
No.
you're busy and things like that, and there's a lot I want to sort of get through. I mean, we've been friends for a while. So, for those people who don't know who you are, don't know a bit of your backstory, tell us about who is Shoaib.
Well, I am a Pakistani. I was born in Pakistan when I was 1 week old, and my mom took me back to Saudi Arabia. My father and my mother have always been in Saudi Arabia. They still are in Saudi Arabia. So, born in Pakistan, raised in Saudi Arabia, then came to the UK. I used to come to the UK very frequently when I was young, as on holidays, and I just used to see things in the UK, so I used to love it. But in 2008, that's when I decided to come to the UK to complete my studies. I completed my A levels in Saudi Arabia in international school, where I used to go to school with. We had Europeans, Americans, we had Canadians, we had obviously British. Out of all the lot that I went to school with, I think the British people were the ones that I really liked, and these were the white Christian British people, and they were just amazing. So I decided then, obviously, I had option because when I came to the UK, my father paid for my tuition fees. It was not on debt. I don't have any student loans or anything. So
Hmm.
that's why I had a choice. So I had an option to go to Australia, option to go to America. Europe was the cheapest one, but then obviously I decided to come to the UK. I came to London in 2008. I went to Brunel University. I completed my bachelor's degree from there. I went back to Saudi Arabia. I need to clarify this because I went back to Saudi Arabia because I know a lot of Pakistanis who and a lot of people from Pakistan, India, the Bengalis and all of these people. They will turn up to the UK on a student visa and then they will claim asylum or they will overstay the visa. So I just want to clarify. When I completed my education, I went back to Saudi Arabia and to a point where I actually got in touch with the Home Office to let because I had still 8 months left on my visa because they give you that 8 extra month if you want to stay and find a job or anything. So I never worked in my teens basically when I was in the UK. My father paid for everything. And I emailed the Home Office and I said to them, "Hey guys, I'm not in the country anymore. So if you want to cancel the visa," I did got a. Fortunately, back then in 2013, I got a response from Home Office saying that, "Yeah, you know what, it's fine. You got the visa. You didn't overstay. So thank you very much for letting us know." And that was it. And then I started working in Saudi Arabia. I worked there for 5 years. And then I decided to come back to the UK in 2016 to complete my master's degree. And for that, I chose Birmingham University. And I lived in Birmingham for 1 year because I thought it would be a bit of a change. And Birmingham, I don't know, I just thought for my master's degree, I'll just go into Birmingham, where I've completed my MBA then. And then while living in Birmingham, I think this is where things change. When I lived in London, I had all my friends from Saudi Arabia who came with me to London, and these are the British kids that I met in Saudi while I was living in Saudi Arabia. So we were friends in university, we were friends in school. So I didn't really experience anything. So I just had a good life, and then I went back. But when I started living in Birmingham, I used to live in a student accommodation in Birmingham. There were things that I was seeing in Birmingham which I just did not agree with. And unfortunately, it was being done by the Pakistani community because Birmingham, as I'm sure you and your viewers would know, Birmingham is highly Pakistani population within Birmingham. That's, the mayors, the MPs, and everybody in Birmingham are Pakistani. So I was seeing a lot of things in Birmingham, and I just didn't agree with it. Some of the things were how people were cheating the system, like how would they treat, and it's literally a very petty and a minor thing, but I picked it up on it. So we used to go clubbing a lot, like I used to go clubbing a lot, and I remember one time after club, my friends used to drink. I never had the thing that I want because I'm into fitness and all this, so I never drink or smoke. So I went with my friends who were really, really drunk, and I was talking to my another friend, and I realized my friend went up to the pizza shop, and he said, "Oh, can I have a medium pizza, which usually costs us anywhere between £8 to £10?" And he had a £20 note. And I remember him giving a £20 note, and I just turned around and he came back. He was half drunk and he had his pizza in his hand. And I said, "Oh, where's your change?" He said, "Oh, he just gave me these coins." And it was like all 2p, 3p. So basically, my friend got charged around £19 for a medium pizza, but you will pay £8 or £10. So this is, like I said, it's a very petty thing. But I've noticed that and I picked up on it, but I didn't say anything. I said, you know what, actually, I'm just going to wait and see how they do it with. And I was watching these Pakistanis who have been given an opportunity by the white British people to run their shops in a white country where they can benefit from it by earning their money, and they could have done it in a very a nice way rather than cheating the system, which they did. And they were taking cash on cash from people, and they were just giving them coins to a point where the drunk people were putting their hand out for their coins, and they were just putting it on the floor like they were dropping it. So if somebody do question them, "Oh, you haven't given us the change back," they're like, "No, we gave it to you. You dropped it. Look for it on the floor. None of our business. Go." It was so busy. And I remember going up to the guy and I said to him in Urdu, because I speak Urdu, and I said to him in Urdu, I said, "You know what, shame on you. Shame on you for giving opportunity by these people, and this is how you treat these people. Like this is how you treat them. This is your thanks to these people who've given you a job. Because believe me, you as a Pakistani and me as a Pakistani, we know you take this job, this business to Pakistan. Within a week, if you start earning good money, you will have people turning up to your shop, and this happen everywhere in Pakistan, and they will say, because you're earning good money, guess what you need to do now? You need to give us some money back. And these are thugs, these are your drug lords, and all these people will turn up to your shop, and because they've seen you making good money, they will ask for it, and there is no way you can deny it, because if you deny that money to them, they will either burn your shop or they will harm you in a way that you will be like, you know what, actually, you can have the 50% that I earned for. So I said to him in Urdu, and he didn't like it. Guess what he did? He punched me along with his thugs, and they pushed me out of the shop. And I was a student then, and I seen that, and I was like, you know what, actually, this doesn't sit right with me, because for me, UK has given me all the opportunities that I had. Obviously, the man that I am today, uh, the university degrees that I've got is all from the UK. So I thought maybe it is just against my loyalty that I just say, "Oh, it's okay, it's happening," because it's not happening to me. Why should I care? And then I came back to Saudi Arabia after completing my master's degree in 2017. And I used to speak to my friends who were in the UK, who were white British people. And then they were telling me things that were happening to them. And one of my very close friend of mine, he's been friends with me for the last 28, 29, 30 years now. And he called me and he said to me, "You know what? I've got the police turn up to my workplace, and they had to fire me. The place where I worked for 8 years." And I said, "Why would they fire you? You're such a nice guy. You're a good hard worker. Why?" They said, "Because there was a Muslim lady who wore the headscarf. She wasn't doing her, she's a Muslim lady, a Pakistani lady who was born in the UK. So for her, UK was a territory. So, and what she did, because my friend was a manager and he used to ask her to do the work because she was lazy, she was incompetent, she couldn't do the job. And she was, I'm sure she was only hired because of the DI things that you got in the UK, that you have to hire either a person who's of color or a person who's transgender or gay or these kind of things. So because of that, she got hired. She didn't know how to do her job. She was very lazy, extremely lazy. And my friend said to her as her manager that, "You know what, if you won't do your work, I am going to make a complaint to the HR and let them know you're not doing your work, and we're going to put you back into the probation period." So she took the opportunity and she went back before he could go to the HR. She went to the HR and she said, "Oh, you know what? Actually, this white man is a racist man. Because I wear a headscarf, he keeps coming up and he keeps bothering me. And because of that bother, I can't work. I've got stress. I've got anxiety. I can't come in the office if this guy's in the office." They put her on leave for 6 months, fully paid. Now you've got a team of 4 people, from which only 3 people are working, but all 4 of them are getting paid. So when you see 4 people are getting paid, 3 people are working. Now the work is not divided between 4 people. So everybody's not getting
Yeah,
25%
of
of the
course.
100% of workload. Everybody now, 3 people are working full time. You've got a Pakistani Muslim woman sat in her house chilling on the name of anxiety, and she's getting fully paid. So when I saw that, I was like, and he lost his job. He lost his 8 9 years he worked there, and he lost his job. And I thought, you know what, it does not sit right with me. And I remember sitting with my father and I saying to him, "You know what, Dad, I would love to go back to the UK, and I would like to go back as somebody who want to work in the UK, because there are these things within the system is happening, and I don't think this is right." And my father said to me, he was very open and honest to me, and he said, "You've got a good life in Saudi Arabia. Why would you go to UK? Right? Why would you go there? get yourself a job and restart your life when you've already got a life in Saudi Arabia. I say, you're right, but unfortunately, I don't know what it is inside me that I feel like I owe something to the UK, to the British people, to the British justice system, to the British system, which now people say, oh, there is a systematic racism. And I said, I would want to be the guy. I know I'm only one, right? I'm only one guy, but I would like to be that guy. I would like to be the guy who goes in there and say, you know what, actually, they're lying. And that's why I said to my dad, I will apply for jobs. I will get a visa. I will go into UK. I will work, and I will debunk all of them lying people who just points at somebody just because they are white British. The point, because it's easy. It's very easy. You know what, Dean? I can literally point at you, not knowing you nothing. I can point at you and call you racist, and guess what? I can have police at your house literally within the next 10 minutes if
I'm
I try on.
sure I'm sure you probably could, and I'm sure people have called me racist in the past actually, because I, like yourself, I'm not afraid to speak out. Now, speaking of job losses and being called
Yeah.
things, you lost your job,
Yeah.
didn't you? Tell us
Yeah.
about that.
So, so when I, like I said, when I came to the UK, I start working. When I start working, I have numerous jobs. I always work in very good companies, always hold more than 60, 70K per annum jobs. So I start working in the Swansea Council, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm married. My wife is white Welsh. She speaks Welsh and English, and she's got a daughter with special needs. And obviously, when I got married to my wife, that daughter is our daughter now, is my daughter as well. And that is a cultural thing. That is me being a man. I think this is what
So
I
you're
believe
her
in.
stepdad, yeah?
Yeah, but we don't call stepdad because I'm the only dad in her life, so I'm
Right,
her
no,
dad.
that's
So
fair
yeah,
enough.
and
That's
like as
cool.
she's special needs, she doesn't understand this, so I don't want to confuse her by saying. And I think it's in my culture as well that we don't say, because I've taken the responsibility now. So for me, she's my daughter. So yeah.
No,
So with
understood.
with that, what it was, I was having a good job, and what I was seeing within the Swansea Council, because we live in Swansea. So within the Swansea Council, the way they were treating my wife and a daughter, which did not sit right with me, and I was thinking, if they are treating us like this, how many other families that they are treating in that way? And because I think the thing that helped before, when my wife was dealing with these social workers, and I hate to say this, but unfortunately, the British people, they've got a lot of tolerance. The white British people. Let me just clarify this, because I just want to make sure that I know exactly what I'm talking about. So the white, and I don't like to say white British all the time, but I need to say it unfortunately now, because it is the white British people who are being attacked. So if I don't clarify who I'm talking about, they will say, "Oh, it could have been anybody who's," because unfortunately everybody think they're British these days. I don't think like that, right? But so that's what I'm clarifying. Just for your audience, just to start saying, "Oh, why is he just going on about white British?" I'm just being honest, because it is the white British who are racist these days, who are labeled as racist. It's the white British people who are labeled as Nazis and all these things. So I need to clarify that it is the white British people who are suffering as well by the other white British people who are the lefty woke and all this nonsense. So I spoke to my wife and I said, look, if they are doing this to you, knowing that you don't speak up, they need, and I'm not in any way saying that the white British people need an immigrant like me to speak up on their behalf. It's literally not that. But the thing that you need to see, Dean, and your viewers and whoever is watching this, they need to see, it is people like me that they cannot call racist. They can try, they have tried in the past, but at the end of the day, they do hit a wall where they're like, oh, you're an idiot, we don't want to talk to you. And that is fine. It just goes on, proves my point. If something that you said and I say exactly the same thing, I would not be called a racist, but you would be called a racist. So
Yeah.
I'm not here fighting on behalf of the white people. I do fight on behalf of my wife, who's white British. I am here to fight on behalf of my daughter, who is a special needs. She cannot fight for herself. So I need to do that for her. So I said to my wife, I'm going to drop my job, which was 70K per annum, and I'm going to try and get a job inside the Swansea Council, because that is how I work. I don't sit there, cry about things, and hope somebody else would do it. No, no. Let me do it. Let me try at least. Let me give it that chance. And I was very fortunate enough, because of my experience, because of my education, and thankfully I had the right way of speaking. I did the interviews. I applied for 3 jobs in the Swansea Council, and guess what? I got all 3 interviews, and I was offered all 3 jobs as well. Call it DEI, call it my experience, whatever it was. I was given all 3 jobs, and believe it or not, all of these jobs were anywhere between 20K to 25K per annum, and that was it. So I went down just so I can go into the system and see what is going on, right? So this is the sacrifice that I made. Where I was earning 70K, I went to 25K per annum. So when I was given three jobs, I chose the best one that fits me around my schedule, and it was like the times were good, the pay was the highest, 25K as I said. So I took that job. I went in there, and my focus was how can I help the people? Because when you work for the council, you need to know you're working for the people. You work for your boss, you take instruction from your boss, but at the end of the day, you need to stand in a place where you need to make sure that you are actually doing the work that you need to do for the people. Not for your boss, not for me, not for myself. If it was for myself, Dean, I wouldn't have taken the job because I was already on 70K per annum.
Yeah,
So when I
absolutely.
went to that, and when I downgraded, I downgraded my whole life was, I shook my whole life. Because when you go from 70K per 25K, there are expenses that you had before, which I did not think about. And then you have a massive backlog. There are things. So since I've taken that job 3 years ago, I couldn't go on a holiday. Me and my wife, we couldn't go on a holiday. We couldn't do anything because we couldn't afford it. We have more expense than what was coming in. But anyways, I start questioning a lot of things that was because I was in the HR payroll and I was paying people and I was watching the budget. I was seeing where the budget was being spent. So in the first 3 months, obviously because of probation, I had to keep my mouth shut, but I kept making notes of things. So once I passed my probation, right? Once I passed the probation, I was like, you know what? I went to my boss and I said, you know what? I see people sitting on 80K per annum in the council, but a lot of them don't even turn up to the council. I know they are my boss, but I've never seen the boss, and I've been here for 4 months. So, do you think it is okay for them to get that much money? Do you think it's okay? Do you think they're worthy of getting 80, 90K per annum and they don't even do half of the jobs that we do while we sit on 25K per annum? So they were like, oh, you know what? Don't bother. Don't worry about that thing, but you need to just, be careful with this. And then they start giving me warning. Then a time came when they said to me that we would like you to work from home. So I was working 5 days a week in the office, but then something happened. I remember going in the office one day on Monday. My boss came up to me and she said to me, "We would like you to work from home." And I was like, "Why is that?" Because I at that time I didn't know, but now I know it was because I was noticing a lot of things that was going on within the Swansea Council. They said, "Oh, can you work from home 3 days a week and you can come into the office once a week?" And I said yes to that. But I was really bored in the house. For me, I want to be in work mode. I want to wear a suit. I want to go into work. And I kept doing that, and they kept giving me warnings. They kept saying, you know what, you can't do this. You need to stop. You need to stop. Then I did stop because they gave me a big warning, and that was like, we're going to put you back into probation. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to lose my job. This is the only job I've got. I start working from home. And then when I was working from home, I had a lot of time because I there was no time. They were like we were given a task for me because I used to pay around 600 people who were working in the schools and who were working in the kitchen of the schools and everything. So I was paying them. So I started going out and about, and I remember one day coming out of the Swansea Council. That was the day I was working. There was a pro-Palestinian march going on, which for me, I come from Saudi Arabia. I never had anything to do with protest. I did not even know what is a protest, why people do it. But anyways, I went to see what was going on in the protest, and I had my phone on me. And I started recording the people, and I was like, oh, you know what? And I had that thing, oh, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to record what people do, go out, just record people. I never thought that I would say something back to these guys. They saw me, they saw a brown guy, and these was the refugees welcome, the Antifa lot, and they saw a brown guy. When I spoke with an accent. They were like, yeah, this is our guy. Called me over and they said, oh, are you here to join us? I said, yeah, I'm here to observe what's going on. They pointed at on the other side and he said, these white people, they are the racist white people. Don't go to them because they look at you, a brown man, they will want you deported. And I said, oh, okay, interesting. I've been in the country 10 years. Nobody have told me that I'm going to get deported or they would want me deported, but I would like to see what's going on. And the moment I said that, they said, "Oh, so you don't agree with what we are saying?" I said, "No, I didn't say that. I didn't. I'm just, I'm just observing and just reporting. That's it." So they said, "What do you think about these people coming on the dinghy in the UK? They're turning up in from Cali to Dover. What do you think about that?" I said, "I've got an opinion. What's your opinion?" They said, "Yo, you know what? We welcome refugees. We will." And I said, "Yeah, I see that." But then they said, "What about you? You're an immigrant." I say, "I'm an immigrant, but I'm a legal immigrant. I came through Heathrow Airport. I didn't just turn up." So they were like, "Oh, so you got a problem against them?" I said, "Yeah. For me, each and every single one of them, these men they're turning up in the dinghy on Dover, for me, they're all criminals." They were like, "Why? Where else would they go?" I said, "They come from. They're not coming from war-torn country. They're Syrian. They're Iraqis. Nothing going on in these countries. There are no war. I know because I'm from the Middle East.
Well, there's
So
no
when they
war in
are
France, is there?
exactly, and that's what I was coming to that point. And I said to them, when they leave Syria, when they leave anywhere, the country, the safest country that they hit before they even get into the European Union is Turkey. Turkey is literally between Turkey and then there is European Union straight after Turkey. So why don't they claim asylum in Turkey? They're like, oh, they don't want to be there as a Muslim country. I said, I'm not saying claim asylum in Turkey. Why don't they go to the British embassy in Turkey, because I know people have done that. They will go to the British embassy, they will present their case. This is what's going on. These are my paperwork. This is the abuse. And I know women and children. They have gone through Dubai. They have gone through Saudi Arabia, and then they were transferred safely to the UK after their paperwork was completed. So they're not like, oh, we need to come in. The reason why these people cannot do what a lot of the women and children that I've seen they've done, because these people are criminals. And I said the only reason why you wouldn't go through the channel that, and then they have this argument, oh, there is no way you can claim asylum legally. No, there is. There is. When you get to Turkey, you need to go to the British embassy. Okay, when you go to Spain, France, bloody hell, all this European Union, go to the British embassy. You say you are coming from a war-torn country. What's stopping you? Why would you tear up your passport and chuck it in the water? Because the moment they will see your passport, they'll say you're not coming from a war-torn country. You chatted nonsense. That's why these people won't go to the consulate. That's why they won't go to the British embassy. And I know people right now who are stuck in countries, and that's what they're doing. They're just waiting for the Home Office or the British Embassy in those countries to get back to them, and they're waiting. They're not turning up to dinghies. So this was my argument to them, because they were lying to me. They lied to me. Oh, there is no legal way. No, there is a legal way. I just explained it to you. The moment I said that, literally everybody surrounded me, and I will send you that video if you want to play it later on.
I'll put it on the end of this. So yeah, do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. So I will send you that video where this, and this is the unfortunate thing was the people that were calling me Nazi, fascist, they called me the brown Nazi.
Brown
A
Nazi.
brown
That's a
Nazi.
that's a quality like title for this
Yeah,
episode. The
yeah,
Brown
brown
Nazi.
Nazi. Oh, he's a Pakistani coconut. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't mind. You can call me whatever. These things doesn't hurt me. And the funny thing was, yeah, the irony was when these people were telling me don't go on the white people side because they are the racist. And I thought, if these people are this horrible to me, and these are the people supposedly welcoming somebody like me, well, not somebody like me, if I was a criminal, illegal, asylum seeking lunatic, they will welcome me, yes. But if I come here legally, which I have, they won't welcome me because they don't want people like me, because it then destroys the narrative where they say, oh, you know what, the only way you can get into the country is illegally. No, you can't. I came from Saudi Arabia, right? I came here legally. I came here and I have been working since then. Anyways, then I thought, let me go to the white people side who say, stop the boats, illegal migrants are not welcome and all this. And I went there, and you've got people there standing there with the shaven heads and all this tattoo, and people are like, oh, you better be careful. They're gonna deport you. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go there. I went across. Believe it or not, them people welcomed me politely. They were very, very well, and I knew that. Obviously, it was for me. I already knew that. I knew what was going to happen. But for them people to see, I took my camera and I was recording since as soon as I was walking towards them. They welcomed me, and I told them what has happened to me on the other side. You won't believe it. These white so-called racist people actually went to the police and they said, this brown guy has been attacked by them lot. Why don't you do something about it? Right? And if you call them racist, why would they take the time out of why would they take the time out of their life to go and speak to the police officer on my behalf? They stood there defending me. They were like, oh, how dare they call you coconut? They want to talk about racism. This is racism. And I said to them, I don't mind. They want to call me coconut. They want to call me Uncle Tom, white man's bootleg. I was called everything on that day. So when that happened, the police came to me and they said, I said, no, no, I'm not pressing charges. It's fine. I did a couple of interviews, and from that day onwards, it was 2 years ago, it just went viral. It was like everybody like, oh my God. And then the next day, I was getting death threats from the so-called the welcome the refugees lot. They were giving me the death threats. They were telling me that they knew where I lived, and I said, these things not gonna work on me. You try your best. I'm not hiding where I live. I will live where I live, and I keep living until I decide to change. So then next thing was I used to go to play basketball. These Muslim imams now. So now this is now coming to when you said I lost my job. So I was still working for the Swansea Council. I used to go to play basketball with the Muslim community because they had this days when they were playing basketball, and I used to play with them. And I've been doing that for the last 2 years, never had a problem. And I remember going that day, and the Imam turned up from the mosque, and he said to me, "You need to delete your YouTube. You need to delete your X account." And I looked at him. I said, "Who the hell do you think you are? You might be an Imam to your mosque, but for me, I live in the UK. You're a nobody to me, man. You're literally equally like me or even below me, because the way the things that you're doing here, you think I'm gonna bring 8 of your guys, you're gonna beat me up? Is that what you're gonna do?" He's like, "No, we're not gonna beat you up, but we just giving you a warning." And I was like, "Yeah, you can take your warning and you can F off." And he didn't like that because there were 8 of them and they saw me. They're like, "Oh, we will intimidate him." It didn't work. It didn't work with them. and they were with me for 50 minutes. I recorded them as well. I had the voice. I recorded them with voice notes because I had a phone in my pocket, and I recorded everything and I given it to the police. Police absolutely didn't do anything. They thought it was okay because he is the imam of a mosque, which I don't know why the hell we have all these mosques in the UK for, but it's an imam of the mosque. So yeah, he's the leader of the community, and he asked you to delete your YouTube account. It's a civil matter. I said it's not a civil matter. You telling me if I get some of my friends, who you will call the thugs because they're white friends, and we turn up to a mosque and tell the imam, you know what, stop your shit, otherwise we're gonna beat you up. I'm sure you're gonna arrest us, put us behind bars, because you do a lot more to people who just say hurty words online. So don't sit there and tell me that, oh, you know what, this is an okay behavior, because it's not. Anyways, that happened. I did not get intimidated. I went home. I was fine. Literally a couple of days later, I had counterterrorism police turn up to my house.
Counter-terrorism
Yeah,
police.
counterterrorism. Yeah, prevent. They came to
Prevent,
my house. Prevent. Yeah, that's what they called it. This, and I
that's it,
recorded
yeah.
them as well. The thing is, I recorded them as well. And they came to my house, and the things they were picking up. So there were things that happened openly, but then there were things that I used to do on Facebook. Like I will put out comments saying things, and they picked this out, and they said to me, "Oh, we have seen you talking about the Pakistani rapist gangs. Why would you do that? What's your problem with that?" I said, "Well, my problem is one, I'm a Pakistani myself. I'm a Muslim. So for me, the problem is when I see something happening in my community, which I'm sorry, but you will not understand, because my friend, you are not Pakistani, and I highly doubt that you're a Muslim. You're not. So you cannot come here and tell me about my culture and the community that I'm from, where I have been living the same way. I wouldn't tell you about the British community or the British culture, because I'm not from here. So when you are here and asking me why is it that I'm talking about the Pakistani rapist gangs, what do you mean? He was very angry. The police officer was like, "Oh, where's your proof? Where is your proof? Tell me your proof." This is exactly, and I recorded him. Like there's a full video, 50 minutes long video on my YouTube channel, which I'll send it to you as well. I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
And he kept asking me, "Why would you talk about the Pakistani rape? Why would you do that? Why would you do that?" And I said, "Well, because I'm a Pakistani, I went to Islamic school where I was sexually harassed by the imams and my teachers, so I know exactly what these girls are going through, especially whatever I went through when I in the age from the age 11 till 16. What these girls are going through is literally triple or even four times more because of people like you." And he said, "What do you mean people like us?" I said, "Because you're here defending somebody that you don't understand." But I get it, and this is what I said to the police, and he got really offended by that. And I said, "Yeah, I get it, because you guys, it's literally you and your team went up to these children. I call them children. I don't care if they're 14 or if they're 15 or even if they were 16, 17, 18. They were children when these Pakistani Muslim men, right, given them drugs, given them alcohol, and used them. It's, children are very vulnerable. It's very easy for you to manipulate children and make it look like somehow it is their fault. So when you have people like the police, people like the social services, which are getting paid to protect the children of this country, and they're not doing it. And what they did, they went back to these white children, white women and children, and they went and said to them, "Oh, don't say Pakistani rapists. Don't you dare raise your voice against them, because you are a racist." I said, "So you have shut them up by saying that they are racist, and then the police have said many times, oh, this has never been the case." This is not, and I said to them, "Today you have proven their point that this is the case, because you're sat here in a Pakistani man's home telling a Pakistani man who have been harassed by these Muslim imams that why is it that I talk about the Pakistani rapist gangs? Is that why you're here? You're trying to shut me up as well? You couldn't. You shut the white women and children up because you said, oh, it's racism. How the hell are you gonna shut me up? What are you gonna do? Call me a racist?" I said, get up and get the fuck out of my house. If you're gonna call me a racist, I'm not gonna listen to you one more time. They're like, "No, no, this is not it. We don't mean it that way." And I thought genuinely that they are probably now being nice to me. And they sat in my house for 50 minutes, and that was on Friday. They took my interview, and as they were leaving, they can see, my wife was recording, and then they start pulling my wife in. "Oh, what do you think about his political views?" And I said to my wife, "You're not gonna answer that." And I said to the guy, "You are here for me. You're here for Shoaib Said. You're not here for my wife. Leave her out of this." And I know why you're dragging her in, because she's white. So you're gonna say, "Oh, yeah, he's a racist because we can't label him a racist. Let's get his wife involved. Let us get her arrested just to so we can blame her easily because she's white or she's a racist. And when we get her arrested, maybe they can have me on my knees." They probably could have, because that is my wife. If they, I wouldn't fold if they did anything to me. And they knew that. Imam came to me, I didn't fold. The police came to me, I did not fold. And they left. They left on Friday. Sunday morning, I got arrested by the police. So Friday they came to me. I didn't fall. I told them to, fuck off, get out of my house. And when that happened, they literally sent the police and they arrested me.
On
And they
what
put me in prison.
grounds?
for being racist with the Muslim community. For yeah, being racist with the people who look like me.
So in this day and age, what we've just learned from what you're telling us is if you're white, if you're brown, if you speak out about a certain community and they call
Not
you
certain community,
racist.
Pakistani rapist gang. I don't want you saying it, Dean. Let me say it. Let me say it. Not certain community. It is the Pakistani Muslim rapists, these barbarians. You speak against them, and these Bengalis as well, and they're all Muslims. I'm sorry, I'm a Muslim too, and the reason why it's very heartbreaking for me. You know why? Because I'm a Muslim, and it's very heartbreaking for me, and I feel like as a Pakistani, right? I feel like the Pakistani community, not anybody else. And I'm embarrassed and I'm ashamed to say this that as a Pakistani man, a Pakistani Muslim man, it is the Pakistanis who have let these white British women and children down by doubling down and saying, oh, you know what, actually, yeah, this is racism. No, you shouldn't have said that. You should have been like me. You should have said, you know what, no, there is no, for me, Dean, I don't believe there is racism. There is discrimination, yes. Is there racism? There is no racism. I don't believe in racism. I think that's just nonsense to shut people up, shut people like you up, and now, unfortunately, to shut people like me up as well. So I will say it. You don't need to say it because I don't want people labeling you as a racist. So let me say it. It is Pakistani rapist, barbarian Muslim men are the problem that we have in the UK, and these are not the problem only in the UK. We have this problem also in Saudi Arabia, in Dubai. You can say the white people are racist. Let's for a second hypothetically. Let me agree to that. Let me just say, okay, yes, you know what? You're telling me the white people are racist because they talk about the Pakistani Muslim men, right? Let's say that. What about the Arabs? The Saudi Arabia have shadow banned people from Pakistan. You can be a millionaire or a billionaire. If you apply for a visa to go and visit Saudi Arabia, you will get rejected if you have a Pakistani passport. So now you're telling me that the white people are the problem, and now somehow Arabs are the problem as well, right? And then the UAE, Kuwait, Oman, all these places, they don't want Pakistani, and they will say it. They will say, you know what, we don't want your lot. Not only that in UK, okay, so in UK they're known to be raping men, women, and children. In Saudi Arabia and in Dubai and in the Middle East, these people are known to be beggars. So what they will do, they will save money, and when the time comes for them to go to Saudi Arabia, they will go to Saudi Arabia on visas as if they're visiting on tourism visa, and if they want to visit the Holy Mosque and all the Makkah and Medina and all of these things. And what they would do, they will go there and they will beg. Everywhere they have something. So these are the Pakistan, no one else. It's only the Pakistani people. Then they will turn up, they will beg. And I have actually spoken to these guys. And I said, why do you guys do it? Why do you guys come here, take advantage of someone's generosity? They let you come into this country, and you're doing this, and because of you guys, people like me get the blame as well. Because it's unfortunately it's majority of them doing the thing. It's not many people are like me. I don't know if you know any other Pakistani who's talking about these things as openly as I do. And I have done this on the cost of my job, cost of my livelihood. So when they arrested me, they left me after 15 hours. And I remember going to work after that, and my work fired me on the spot. There was no HR, there was nobody, and they said, "Oh, well, we don't want any racist work in the council." And I was like, just like that. They were like, "Yeah, just like that." And they fired me. They got rid of me. And I remember that was in October 2024. From then till now, Dean, I'll be honest with you now, I haven't had a job. I'm the guy who used to choose my job on my terms. Now, living in Swansea, they've blacklisted me. And first, they blacklisted me saying, oh, you're a racist. You've got an investigation going against you, so we're not going to hire you. And the investigation only last month in January came to an stop because I had to hire private lawyers. And the day I got myself private lawyers, they did their full, they made a plan, and I paid them. I paid them around £4,000 to £5,000. It cost me a lot of money that I didn't have, so I had to, ask for loans from people and all that. But the moment I hired private lawyers, the moment they came in from London and they did my case, within 24 hours, my charges was dropped. I got my phone back. I got my laptop back. I got all the devices that I got everything back. So the reason why they kept me in that circle for 1 year because I was with the lawyers that you get from the what do you call them? The
Oh,
lawyer
what
that you
the
get.
like the police or court appointed lawyer,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. It's they call them something. It's like state provided lawyers. Yeah, the
yeah.
one. Yeah, state provided lawyers. Yeah, because they were free, and they put me in the circle all the time. They were keep messing up my case because in the beginning they said to me, "You need to plead guilty," and I said, "There's no way in hell." I said, "I might be an immigrant. I might look like an idiot. I'm not an idiot." So I said, "I'm not going to plead guilty. If you don't like it, you can go as well. I will fight my case by myself." And I wish I did that. But they said, okay, that's fine. Don't need to plead guilty, but we need to let you know you will be charged because the people against you, there were 70 Muslims from the mosque, 70, 70. They took the time out of their day and they went to the police station, 30 at each time. So it was 30, then 30, and then 10 people turn up to the police station making complaint against me. I never got arrested. But the moment an imam turned up, an imam who was trying to intimidate me, when he turned up to the police station, guess what? He ordered them to arrest me and I got arrested. So this is the reality, Dean. This is not people are not getting this. When people say, "Oh, you know what? We still can say," I've always been pro police, right? I used to look at the Scotland Yard and I was like, you know what? If I would ever get given the chance, I would serve in the police. This is how much I love the police. I would serve in the Home Office. Like everything that I saw about the British justice system, I loved it. I loved it. This is how I grew up. I grew up with tremendous respect towards the British people, the white British people, the British justice system, the British police. And then when I was put through a hell, I was like, nah, I cannot be pro police anymore. I'm sorry. And it hurts me so much to say this, but I have started to hate the police to a point where you can have a gunman standing here right now. I will refuse to call the police. I won't call the police because I know they will find a way to blame me. They will find a way to say, oh, you know what? If that gunman was on your head with the gun on your head, you must have said something because
Yeah, that's what
this
it'll
is where
be,
we
won't it?
are.
Yeah.
This is where we are. This is where we
The
are right now.
it's the insanity of the thing because, as I say, we've been friends for a while, and
Yeah,
I followed what happened to you long before I started doing my YouTube and my writing and
yeah,
things like that. And I would say that immigration status aside, I don't care. Um, you are what I would call like a genuine British patriot. And I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, but
yeah.
you every engagement I've seen, every engagement we've had, you love the UK, you love England, like you wear flags, you wear hats at Christmas, you wear the Christmas jumpers.
You
Like,
can see right there.
yeah.
That's my hat. That's my thing.
But
I go
like,
with this.
yeah, and
Yeah,
you genuinely believe in what the UK, unfortunately, it seems more and more like it used to be, not what it is now.
yeah,
And we've fallen quite far, I think.
yeah. Well, I know we have fallen quite far. I agree with that, but I do believe that there is hope, and I'll tell you why. Because the British people that I've known, right? My grandfather, he's passed away now, but he was married to a British, which is my grandmother, who's white British English lady. So the courage that I've seen from the British people, the hope. And I can say this, I know you grew up in the UK. For you, it's different to me because, see, when we were growing up in Saudi Arabia, and when we were seeing there was injustice going on anywhere around the world, and I say anywhere around the world, I would say injustice that goes on in Pakistan because that is where my cousins, my aunties, and uncles live. So when I see the injustice, and when I was seeing injustice happening in Pakistan growing up, we used to be given examples of the British justice system, right? For me, when we used to look at the British people and the British justice system, that was the pinnacle of hope. And I remember my grandfather used to say this: if you were ever wanted to be caught in a case where you have not committed a crime. You do not want to be caught with Pakistanis because the Pakistani justice system will find a crime and they will stick it on you, even regardless if you've done it or not. But the only people before Americans, before European, before all these things, if there were people that you hope to get caught in this wrongful acts where you have not committed a crime and somebody have accused you of committing that crime, the British justice system will be the best one because even if they arrest you, they will still treat you with respect. It was like until or unless you are actually found to be guilty, you are innocent. You are innocent. So you can fight your case, you can prove your innocence by giving the facts and everything else. But unfortunately, we don't see that now. What we see now, if the Muslim community comes out and call you racist, you are literally arrested before you even proven guilty. So right now the process is the punishment.
Yeah.
Before it wasn't that the case. It was the case. They will take you into the prison. They will treat you with respect. They will talk to you politely, which they did to me. When they arrested me, they were very polite to me. And I don't want to name names because I don't want to get any police officers in
No,
any
and I
trouble.
don't think that would be
But yeah,
appropriate.
but for me, my experience in the jail, the people who was in the jail, the police officer who were looking after me, asking me, and amazing. One of the best people that I have. And if I see them outside, I'll give them a hug. This is how much they were there. They knew. I'm sure a lot of police officers know that there are wrong things that are happening. But for me, a time has come because I'm somebody who's lost my job. Because when they were taking my job off me, they did offer me one thing. They said to me, if you delete your YouTube, it was the same thing that the Imam said. It is the same thing that the police said. So it all started off by the Imam. And whatever the police were telling me, it exactly what Imam already said to me. Delete your X account, delete your YouTube account. Maybe we'll let you go. Maybe we won't do anything to you. My Swansea Council said the same thing. Delete your X account, delete your YouTube account, and we will give you the job back. And that was the time I could have made the decision. Like, you know how you hear the police, oh, we are just following orders. Or we need to
Mm.
feed our family. Guess what? Do you think I don't need to feed my family? Right? I've got a wife and I've got a special needs daughter. Do you don't think I have to feed my family as well? And let me tell you another thing. As a legal immigrant in the UK, do I pay into the system? Yes, I do. When I earn, I pay the national insurance. I pay the council tax. I have paid everything, and I'm still paying it, right? But do I get any benefits? I don't. I don't get any benefits. I don't mind. Look. I don't have a complaint against that. I am the only immigrant. I'm going to send this to you, Dean, and I would want you to put that up as well. I am actually the only immigrant, and I say this with confidence. I'm the only immigrant who have emailed Home Office 3 years ago, and I said to them, when I was getting my visa, and I said to them, can you please take this email as a proof, as in a statement from me, a signed statement from me that I'm telling you, when I get my ILR, which is indefinite leave to remain in the UK, I do not want anything to do with your benefit system. Take me off the list. I don't want it. I don't care. I don't have a job. I don't care anything. Can you please take this as a proof? And I will send it to you. I will.
Yeah, yeah.
I send that to the Home Office, and I said to them, take this as a proof. I don't want nothing to do with your benefit system. I don't want it. I don't need it. I want to be an asset. And these are my words, quote unquote. I came to this country to be an asset to the UK, not a liability. I did not look at the benefit system and I'm like, oh, you know what, actually, I can claim something. No, I actually had everything when I was not doing all of this. I had three cars, Dean. Three cars, right? I had three cars. One of them was a family car. One of them was a sports car, a Mercedes, which I used to like drive around just when I was by myself. And that was my car. That was my baby. Yeah? And I'm
Yeah.
sure as a man,
Yeah.
you know how much we love our cars. I don't want to say that on camera, but sometimes we do love our cars more than.
I fell in love with I used to have an Audi A3, and that was my
I used to have an
car.
Audi A3 as well. I
Yeah,
used to have an Audi
beautiful
A3 as
thing.
well.
And I've
Yeah,
now got a Mitsubishi convertible, and again, that is my car. It's my
exactly.
midlife
That's it.
crisis.
That's
I'm great. I've got a convertible.
it. Well, and let's see, and that's the thing. I used to have these hobbies. I used to have, and I got everything. The opportunities that I was given in the UK, I was a hard worker. I've always been a hard worker. I've been very loyal to whatever company that I've been working, and I've always been very, very honest. There have been times where I could have cheated the system, done things. I refused to do that. Right? Never did that. So now, 1.5 year on, without any job, not only that I had to sell all three of my cars because I couldn't pay my bills, right? I don't get benefits. And because my wife, yes, she's white British, because she's been married to me last 6 years, she never gotten any benefits because I was earning top money. When I'm earning that money, my wife don't get any benefit, which is fine again because she's my wife, my responsibility. But now that I've lost my job, right? My wife is on benefits now because she got a special needs daughter, and we do try and do whatever we can. But unfortunately, because they've labeled me a racist, and I now have come to a point. If I need to get a job, right, I need to move my city. I need to come out of Swansea, and I actually need to come out of Wales, maybe go to England. But I think to myself, why should I? Why should this is my home? I've been living there for 5 years. Why should I pack up now because of some of these Bengalis and these Pakistani Muslims have taken offense to the things that I said? And because the police is so corrupt that they literally are so scared of these Muslims, and they're like, oh, you know what, actually, because they have said it, you are a racist, sir, even though I've never been charged. I've never been convicted. Yes, they try to put these charges against me, these made up bullshit nonsense charges against me. It didn't work for them, and that's the reason why I'm so glad that they came face to face with someone like me. Because Dean, if it was you, you probably would be sitting in jail like Lucy Connolly, like Wayne O'Rourke, and unfortunately, like Peter Lynch, a guy who served, who literally did everything good to this country. And guess what? This country taken his life. It was the police that have taken his life. I don't care what anybody says. For me, I will blame the police. How dare you put a grandfather in prison? And not only you knew that when you're putting somebody of that age who's never been to prison, putting him in prison on the made up charges of calling him a racist, what he did, he took his own life. Peter Lynch, let's not forget that. Peter
No,
Lynch took his own
we
life.
won't forget.
Yeah.
What
No,
his crime
I
was,
blame.
what, turning up to a protest.
Yeah, yeah, and saying something that everybody else is saying. And I think, unfortunately, I think this has become so normalized in a way that people just are not taking this seriously. We hear people getting picked up because they said hurty. Well, we look at it and we move on. I don't think we should move on. You know what it should be? You know what will be the British way? We need to gather around. We need to get up. I don't care if it's happening in Scotland, in Ireland, in Wales, in England. I don't care. If you see one of the patriots being picked up by the police, in a very peaceful way. The British way is the peaceful way, right? Following the rules way. That's what I would say. And gather, all of you guys, gather together, everybody, and including me. We will all gather together. We will turn up outside the police station, and we will demand peacefully to the release of that person. I don't care. People are not doing this. We need to do this. I don't care if I know that person. I do not care what that person have said. As long as that person have not committed a crime, and crime I mean if they have not incited directly, or I want this guy unalived or this and that, that is a different story. But if you say that, oh, I don't like this because, and somebody have gotten offended, when I say somebody, the Muslims have gotten offended, and the police have turned up and arrested them, no, we need to gather around. We need to take the train. We need to take the bus. If you can't take the train, can't take the bus, chip in, help your other patriots, let them stand outside, and let's see how many of us they're going to lock us in. Let's see. I would love to see them lock all of us in, because you know what's going to happen? If all of us are in there, at least we will be safe inside. Right now, if a guy like you or a guy like me get arrested and go to actual prison, guess what? The Muslims are running the show. People like me probably won't survive. I will not survive. They will not let me out alive, because they'll be like, this is our chance, get rid of him. Get rid of him. I'm the biggest threat. I'm only one man. And this is what I said to my father and said to my other friend. I'm only one man. And look at me, the amount of threat that they feel fear when they see me. If they didn't fear me, they wouldn't send police after me. If they didn't fear me, they wouldn't take my job off me. Because I know plenty of people who say far worse than what I'm saying, and they're still walking around.
Yeah, of
Because
course.
if you got facts, if you got, and like I said, that is a very unfortunate thing. I say unfortunate because what I'm seeing right now, with politics and everything else, I know there will be a lot of people, and I don't blame them, man. I don't blame them. A lot of the people probably look at me and they'll be like, "Yeah, you've done enough. Thank you very much. Now we need to deport you." You know what I mean? And I get that. I don't blame them either. People have asked me, oh, "What do you think about that? What do you think about people now? The white people coming out?" And it's not all of them. There are some. Yeah, I know there are some. But when they say, "Oh, we need to deport people like you," what do you think about that? I say I don't blame them. I absolutely don't blame them. Right? The only thing that I can request now, if you're going to deport all of us, like, at least give me a first class. Bring me. That's
Do
the
do
least
me
you can
that
do for me.
kindness. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I know you're a very busy man. You've got a lot on, and I
No.
really
Yeah.
do appreciate your time. So, my final question for you, and just for those watching and listening, all of Shoaib's details will be in the description below. We'll put your X and your YouTube in there. Just after the interview, there'll be the extra videos as well of what Shoaib filmed. We'll also put on there the video that your wife made of the police, the
Yeah. Terrorism. Yeah.
counter-terrorism police. So, my final question, just before I let you go, Shoaib. Now, I think you are, as I said before, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, but you're like one of the most patriotic Brits I've ever met. You're not
Thank you.
English, who cares? You're British and you're
Thank you.
patriotic. What does the future hold now? What's on the cards for you?
Well, in all honesty, like I said, man, I haven't had a job in last 1.5 year because of all these things that they label me. And I think that this is a very unfortunate thing. And it's very easy for me to today say, you know what, actually, yeah, this is it. I'm not getting a job. I'm in debt. I've got no money. I've got nothing left. Why don't I just pack up and go to Saudi Arabia because my parents are still there. We got a business there. Why don't I just do that? That is the easiest option for me. But unfortunately, and I blame you British people for this, right? And I feel like the more I've been in the UK, I have grown that British backbone. Yeah, the British backbone, and I think that's what I've got. And I like I said, I blame you guys for that, because now is even with everything that I've been through, that I am going through, that my wife is going through right now, I still don't want to give up. If I was a true Pakistani, probably by now I would have said, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna fold and I'm just gonna go. It's easy. But I'm not taking the easy way out. A lot of people have said to me, man, I've got friends who are white British people who are living in Saudi Arabia. They call me every single day. And they say, you know what, Shoaib, just pack up, man. Just pack up and come back. Why are you suffering? Why are you in this position when you know that it's a life, it's a daily struggle for me to even think, oh, when my next meal is gonna come out, or how can I get some money so we can actually go out and do something. I haven't done anything in the last 3 years. I haven't done nothing, and I don't complain anymore. You know what? I used to complain. Right now, I'm like, it is what it is. But if I'm not going to stay here and fight, and if I'm not going to stay here and say, you know what, actually, this is wrong. You, I hate to say this, and I'm not saying that, oh, you guys need me or anybody need me, but the state right now that we live in, people like you are very easily blamed and very easily called a racist, and that's the end of conversation. For me, they try to do that, but guess what? That is not the end of conversation. And what they have done now, they have realized they've actually given me even more energy to go tenfold. Like I'm out there all the time. Anywhere I can go, get my message out, I'll be everywhere. I don't care, and I'm not going to stop. So for me, what it looks like right now, yes, I know people will say you might get deported. Well, we'll see that in the future, and that is fine. But up until now, for the time that I am in this country, I just want to make sure that my loyalty to this country remains to a point where I have said, if good people like you, Dean, and I know we've got a lot of friends in common,
Hmm.
and with them good people, if they were to come to me and they said, you know what, you've done everything, thank you very much, but right now we feel like unless we send people like you and everybody else out of the country or send you back to your homelands, we're not going to save the country. I will pack up and I will leave. I don't have a plan B. I don't have a plan. If I had plan B, Dean, by looking at everything that I've been through, I probably would have gone. My plan
Yeah.
B would have been in motion. People have told me claim asylum in America. I've got a lot of family in America as well. People have asked me to come to Australia. There have been a lot of good people in Canada who are in within the government, and they have seen it. They have approached me and they have asked me, if you want to come to Canada, there is a very safe way we can do that. You and your family are welcome here. We'll give you a job. We can use a guy like you. And I'm sure when you see the comments, you will see it. People are literally, and these are not just people like you and me. These are actual people in actual power where they can actually influence the decision for me to go to these countries. But I've refused. I've been getting these offers since last year, and I've just refused. And I said, no, no, I want to stay here. I want to stay here because I know people like my wife. If people like my wife, people like her side of the family, they can't just pack up and leave. This is their home. This is their homeland. This is what and I am very proud to say this, that I am in a very I am really blessed to be in a position where I can make these decisions and I can say, you know what, actually, no, I'm not going to leave the UK because it's getting hard. I'm going to stay here, and I would like to see this UK become the UK that it was when I was growing up, when I was looking up to the British people. That's what I want to see. And if then, and only then, if I'm asked or forced to leave, I'll leave. I don't know where I'm going to go, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. And unfortunately, it is my own community and my own people who have brought us to this point where people hate us. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. So, yeah,
No.
this is what the future looks like for me.
Shoaib, God be with you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dean. Thank you so much for having me on. Take care.
Thank you. You take care.
Take care. First, can you give me your name and your badge number, please?
Yeah, my name is PC Jones and my badge number is 6719.
There is a page called Far Right Watch Wales on Facebook, and that is something is run by him and the people of the mosque, different cities like Birmingham, Manchester, Bradford, all these places, and they have got my name, they have got my picture on the top of the list saying that I am a racist to the Muslim people. So the thing is,
Okay.
first of all, I'm a Pakistani Muslim immigrant, if you couldn't tell
Okay.
from my name. So let me just let you know that. So I
Okay.
don't know how does that work, that how can you be a racist towards your own community, towards your own religion? It's my religion. I come from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that's understandable. Obviously you can still be racist to people and communities that you belong to
How?
under the
How,
definition.
how can you be
Because
racist to your own people?
racism is prejudice against someone against race, religion, skin. It doesn't matter if you also belong to that race, religion, or skin. You can still be
No,
racist
you
to
cannot
someone.
be.
You can.
No,
You
you
can.
cannot be.
You
That's
can. I'm
nonsense.
telling you, under the
What
law,
do you
you
mean?
can.
You're telling me? What law is it? Okay, read
Because
me the law.
you're telling me that
Read
I
me the law.
can't.
No,
I'm
I
telling
can't.
you the law that you can under the
All right.
definition
Okay.
of
So all
racism.
these
I'm a white
people.
British male. If I made
Yeah.
racial comments against another white British male,
Yes.
I'd still be arrested for racial comments
Sure.
because
You'll
you
be. Are
can.
you sure? Okay. You know what? I am
Yes,
going to
I'm
put this
sure.
voicemail out, and I literally, I'd love to see people's reaction on this. But yeah, yeah. Carry on.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
I
You can
can be a
obviously be
racist.
racist to
Yeah.
people who belong to the same
How?
ethnicity, creed,
Give me an
because
idea. How? Okay. How will you be a racist towards a white person? What is it that you can say?
I've just explained to you.
What can, no, you did not. What can you
Yes,
say
I
to
did.
somebody? What is it that you can say to somebody that will make you racist towards your own people? Let's say you're white. You just said you're white British male.
Yeah, like I
What
just
can you
said,
say to another white person? What will
if
you
I'm
say?
white, if
Yeah.
I'm speaking to someone else
Yeah.
and I shout at them and I call them a white whatever, I'm still being racist, despite the fact that I'm white. It's immaterial. Racism comes under
That's
prejudice,
not.
Listen,
Yeah.
prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism for any community, institution, race,
Okay.
anything. It doesn't matter.
All right.
Racism is racism. It doesn't matter if you belong to that or not. You
Okay.
can still be
So
racist.
you're telling me the way you just went and said pro-Palestine. I know it was a slip of a tongue,
I
like you
thought
just
you
said.
said that you
Can
weren't
I just
want to
can
go
I
back and
continue?
forth to that
Yeah.
now. You
Can
seem
I
to
just
be
continue?
very
Well,
fixated on that,
yeah.
a slip of the tongue,
But
and
no,
I'm
no, I
not
will.
really
I don't.
sure why,
It shows
because
how
you said that
unprofessional
we were
you are.
going to
But
leave it and not
no, I'm not
discuss,
gonna
but
leave it.
you
What I'm
brought it
gonna
back
say.
up in
All right.
conversation again,
Okay.
so I'm a bit confused as to why.
Well, you are confused. So am I. Don't worry. We both are in the same boat. So
right, okay.
if
So
I
let's move
say,
on from it and not
because
bring it
you've
up anymore
heard
then,
my,
shall
okay,
we? I think that's better for the conversation because it's
well,
not really contributing anything to
okay,
this.
no, obviously, as I said, I've been here 10 years. I have never ever done any of these things, and I never wanted to be honest, for me, if I went to the Swansea Council that day when they had the meeting with me and they told me, delete your X account, delete your YouTube account, and you can come back to work. Because I said no to them, if I wanted to be like, okay, I want to close my eyes, whatever's happened is fine, call the white people racist, call the Christian fascist, I don't care. But I'm not that type of guy. I could have done that. If I closed my eyes and I would have said to the Muslim people in the basketball team, yeah, I'm deleting my X account, they'd be like, yeah, you're back on the team. And if I told my Swansea Council, yeah, I'll delete everything, they'd be like, hey, you're back into work. I could have done that very easily, but I just thought morally that was just wrong. Accusations against me. I know a lot of them are converted Muslims, and a lot of them are criminals. They went to jail, they found Islam, and they're like, oh my God, I found God in it. Well, you are a criminal. I don't care. I'm not going to murder someone and go in and be like, hey, guess what, guys? I found God and I'm out. I'm a good person. No, you're not. You killed somebody. And it stays as simple as that. I don't believe anybody can kill somebody or rape someone and come up and be like, I'm a changed man. No, you're never going to. In my eyes, it's my opinion, you will never ever change. Yeah, so these are some of the criminals. These are some of the criminals who have become Muslim now, and they wanted to act, they're some better being than everyone else. And just because I say something against them.
So what's your political opinion stance?
So my political opinion stand with everything that's going on. I think if there are criminals, they need to be called out as criminals. So I don't know, a lot of people will agree or disagree with this, but I know there is a problem with the Pakistani rape grooming gangs, and it is a fact. And me as a Pakistani, I say yes, it is true. If anybody says otherwise, oh, you can't, it's not. They're not saying that all Pakistanis are rapists, but they are saying that the majority of them in these cities, in these cases, are Pakistani. So yeah, for me, my political opinion is, if these are the Pakistani rapist gangs, we should say as it is. Because when you say Asian raping gangs,
but where's your proof for that? If you
the proof, there's plenty
of that.
Yeah, there's plenty of proof.
Where is the proof for it?
So whenever I post something,
very careful doing things like that.
No, I know, but there is plenty of proof.
Evidential proof behind it.
There's plenty.
Grooming gangs across the country.
No, there is. Like I said, okay, and I'll tell you this.
Right, which has been convicted of.
All right.
Right, and other grooming gangs in other parts of the country would be found to be untrue.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
So get your facts straight.
No, so I'll say this. When I say about Pakistani grooming gangs, yes, you're right. There are whites, there are Sikhs, there are Indians. But the reason why I speak about Pakistani Muslim grooming rapist gangs is because I am a Pakistani, and I'll tell you why. So it's different, obviously, because you know Pakistan. You understand. For me, I understand the fact. If I sit down quietly and say, look, I'm not doing it. None of my uncles and aunties are doing it. None of my brothers and sisters are doing it. My father is not doing it. Why do I care? If they want to say Asian gang, let them say it. The only reason why I come out and say, yes, it is a problem with the Pakistani community, because as Pakistani, I know there is a problem, and we don't only have a problem in the UK, we have a problem in Saudi Arabia, that's where I live. We have a problem in Pakistan, that is where my grandparents are from. So, and they still live there. So for me, yes, I need to come out and condemn people from my own community. That's what they say. You need to clean your house first before you go clean someone else's house. I can't be on the street saying, oh, there's a white grooming gang or there's an Indian grooming gang. People will say, oh, what about your own grooming gang? But if I'm condemning them first and then I'm moving on to others, yes, of course, but I need to condemn from my own people. The same way, if you come here and tell me, oh no, Pakistan is so good, Pakistan is this, and I will ask you, have you ever lived in Pakistan? You're like, no. So I say, yeah, so of course your knowledge is very less than mine. And the same way, I wouldn't tell you about the British culture. I'm not British. But I can't sit here and tell the British people, oh, you know what, this is what I think it is, because not. I'm not British. I'm not from here. Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm saying.
But there's good and bad in all cultures.
No, exactly. Look, I'm a Pakistani. If I'm doing anything against the Pakistani, I need to know that I will be one of them as well. I will be. But that's why I say to all the Pakistani, you need to stand out. You need to call wrong where is wrong. Doesn't matter if it's white, black, brown, whoever is doing it. But for us, the problem is the main majority of issues that came around the grooming gangs is because I have actually met some of the people who have survived the grooming gangs. Some of them were in the demonstration and they have survived by the Pakistanis. Of course, then there is the proof. That is my proof, and that's all the proof I need. And I don't even need to know the whole proof because I am from that community. I know exactly what it is that is going on in that community because I have lived in that community. When I went to the...
What have you done to stop it? If you know who these people are,
and I've reported them. Yeah, of course I reported them. So when I was in Saudi Arabia, from the age of 11 till 16, I went to a madrasa, which is an Islamic school, and there were these Afghanis, Pakistanis and Bangladeshis teachers, right? They used to sexually harass me, right? 5 days a week, from 8 a.m. till 2 p.m. It wasn't like a full penetration because I was a young kid. They'll make me sit on the lap and they'll move me there. And when I don't know what was going on, because in Saudi Arabia, they did not give us the sex education. And you won't believe it that I did not know this till the age of 22. By the time I found out, I was in London, I went back and I looked for them and I reported them, but they were long gone. So for me, my mission is, every time I see something is happening and there is plenty of proof of it, I will 100% go there and I say, this person, because it happened to me and people have gotten away with it, I don't want these people getting away with it. For me, this is the biggest statement I'll make because it happened to me. I don't want anybody else going through the same thing. And it happened to me when I was a kid. I was a child. I did not know what was going on. Like plenty of young girls that face these things in there, they don't know what's going on. They've been given drugs, free booze, free this, free that, and they're kids. They go for it. And then they're being blamed. They should not get the blame for it. So for me, when you say, when you say, where is the facts? These are the facts. And if you see these lines in there, right? This is my beaten scar. When I was young, every single time, I used to think that these teachers were doing something wrong. This is what they used to do to me. They used to beat me to a point where I couldn't even walk. And this happened to me for 4 years. So do you think, and I mean, me knowing these people have gotten away with it, do you think that I'll be okay listening, watching on the TV, actually meeting the people who've been raped by these monsters, by these Pakistani monsters, and I wouldn't say anything? I will raise my voice. As a Pakistani, I will tell them, this is what it is. If you want to put me in jail for it, I'm more than happy to go. But I will tell you what, if I see a Pakistani doing anything, I will start from there. I won't go looking anywhere else, but I will go looking in my own community because I know it happens. And I will stop them, right? Either being on X, either raising my voice, either reporting them. If I see them, I report them. I will go against them. I don't care. I am not scared of these people. So for me doing this, and people are reporting me, calling me a racist, I don't have my facts. I got my facts straight. I've got my facts. More than anybody of these people defending these rapists, these Pakistani rapists by saying, all of them are not like this, you don't have proof. No. And you can't say that. You cannot tell somebody who's been raped, because you don't have proof, unfortunately, you need to look at the guy you're talking about. Does he have a criminal history? Do you think he could have done it? Plenty of them, I would say yes, they could have done it. They have criminal records. These are people who have been to jail, came out of jail. And for people saying, we don't think you have done it. No. Once a criminal, always a criminal. No, my thing is cold. Can you get... There we are.
We'll be in touch. It'll be nice.
I'll be there.
Yes, I don't worry. Call them.
Love you. No, nothing going on. I'm going to the living room for Mom. Living room for Mommy, please.